Good morning. It's Sunday and the sun is shining, which is why I'm smiling because I am a woman who loves the sun, who needs the sun. We all need the sun, actually. It's not an option, but I really feel it when it's not around. So I'm smiling, it changes my entire disposition. And today I'm going to be in the garden. So now you can kind of tell when I do videos where I'm going to be in the garden because I've got my hat on. So in future, if you need to, just interested in to see what I'm doing in the garden, look for the videos which show me with my hat on, and you're more likely to find that they are gardening videos. I always like to keep my head warm. Obviously that's going to change when it's really warm, but generally I even have hats that my mother has crocheted for me, which are for the summer. Now I'm digressing. What I want to show you is my whole seed layout here on the kitchen, on the dining table. So here I've got all my seeds laid out. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do that. And I know I've got hundreds because I've collected them over the last 3 or 4 years and rather foolishly bought way too many in my enthusiasm and excitement. So don't make the same mistake. I've got seeds from Heritage Seeds, from certain companies in the UK. And I've got plenty of your local garden centre seeds, which unfortunately are hybrid or genetically modified, but I'm not worried about that at this stage. I can talk about that with you another time. So I've separated them. As you know, I grow according to the lunar rhythm, which is known as biodynamic gardening in modern day times, but I've separated them into root seeds, root plants, root seeds, which is married with the earth. That kind of makes sense, the root plants, root vegetables, earth. And then you've got leaf. Now all leaf plants, just like your spinach and your cabbages and so on, herbs, if you're growing for the leaf, if you're growing because you want the leaf to eat, that's associated with water. And then you've got your fruit seeds, which are all your fruit and also what we quite often think as vegetables, but they're not, because they've got seeds. Like tomatoes are actually a fruit because they've got seeds. So there's so many. There's aubergines, there's climbing beans, and they are associated with fire, which I always associate in my mind with the digestive fire inside the body, seeds in. And then you've got the last one. I haven't got my notes on there, but these are flowers. Flowers, ornamental flowers just to look at, but all flowers have some kind of a purpose, whether it's to detract aphids and other pests from your vegetables, or to pollinate, or just to look pretty. But that's associated with air. And of course there are some flowers that we also eat, as you know, certain flowers, for example, wild marjoram. Now, let me turn this back. You don't have to do what I've done there, right? But what I've done, whatever you've got, whatever you want to grow, mine has been trial and error. I've made lots of mistakes over the last 3 or 4 years, which is when I really got started. But just as I said to you before, just start with something. So today I am going to be planting garlic. So in order to plant garlic, what I did, I tried twice before. The first year I failed miserably because I just thought stick a clove in the ground and it will grow, and it doesn't work like that. You have to do some research. The second year, much better, although I didn't buy the cloves from the garden centre. They're not seeds, you plant the cloves, and I bought it from the local supermarket, which is really silly because they're all imported and you don't know what they've done to them. This year I got decent crops, but they were tiny little garlic cloves. This year I've been to the garden centre, spent a little bit more money, and I bought the right variety after talking to a lady that works at the garden centre, my local one, the local community garden centre, got to know her, and she explained a lot more about garlic. So I bought Solent White, that's the name of the garlic clove, which is indigenous to the Isle of Wight. And therefore lends itself well to the weather that we have here in the UK. So I'm planting that. I've gone on to the websites to check different ones on how you grow, what kind of soil and so on, and I've saved it. And of course the other thing I do is I make notes. It's really important that when you're growing or when you're doing anything new, to write things down so that you can remember what you've done, why you've done it, and then you have something to measure your progress by going back to it. There's also another very, very important play that takes place when you write things. I'm not saying typing, write things down with your hand. The centers of messaging that go through from the brain down to your fingers and your hands help the knowledge to sink in when you actually write it down with your hand. There's a reason why this is trying to be destroyed and removed from humanity at the moment. It's very important to stay functional, and part of being functional as a human being is to be able to write down and use your hands. I can go into that in more detail another time. So I write whatever I can down. So that's what I'm up to today. It won't be just garlic, and it's not a case of just planting garlic, is it? You've got to get the compost out. You've got to do X, Y, Z, prepare. Preparation takes the most time. Planting is the easy thing. Just stick it in, water it, and off you go. So it's all the preparation and then knowing how to maintain it and be consistent with that. The other thing I want to share with you today is how much meaning comes in life by what you do. We talk about meaning all the time. So, for example, today, I woke up early and I prayed, and for me there's no ritual to how to pray. I'm just clean and I say a prayer from the Quran. I say Surah Al-Fatiha. I've chosen to do that because I'm studying it and I understand why I'm doing that. That's a job that you need to do. I'm not going to tell you to do something. Study it and understand. If you don't have that knowledge of the Quran, but you are a believer, then just pray to God in whatever way you want to, because ultimately, as a believer, you'll know on the day of judgment, you will be judged for your deeds, and you won't have your mum, your dad, your priest at the local church or mosque, or anyone next to you. It'll just be you and God, and that's it. So it's you that decides how you're going to pray, and it's your integrity and your deeds that God will judge, because God knows what's in your heart, in your mind, everywhere. So I do my prayer, and then after the prayer I then sit down very quietly and have my cup of tea in silence. Sometimes I stand outside like I did today. Well, many times I do. And then today I spent an hour studying the translation of the Quran. And 2 or 3 lines of a verse can sometimes take an hour, because then I look at the meanings of the words, I look at the different translations, I go to the appendix and the annexes that I've got in this brilliant translation by Sam Gerrans. I shared the website on my video of yesterday, so go and take the responsibility to look at that if you're interested. And then after that, I went and had breakfast with my parents, which was so rewarding. I go every day anyway, but it's just rewarding when the sun is shining, and Mum was sitting there in the living room. My dad came down a bit later. We had a cup of tea. I'd made some naan bread yesterday, if you saw the video, and we had that for breakfast with eggs. Just lovely. Now, you tell me, when we all talk about purpose, if that isn't a purpose, what is? How rewarding is that? In any of that, was I just thinking about me? Not really, no. It's not even something conscious anymore. Everything I do is to serve others and also to follow the command and rules and obey what God has asked me to do without being religious. It's just I understand why I'm here. It's taken many years, but I understand why I'm here. But it's given me so much meaning and joy. Even with all of this fruit and food and vegetable growing, it's going to be shared. It'd have no meaning if it's just for me, really little meaning, but it's going to be shared with family, with friends, with community. That's what gives my life purpose. So as I said in yesterday's video, your reason for being here has nothing whatsoever to do with you. You understand that? Stop thinking about you, because that is what the state has tricked you, beguiled you into thinking. And the state is just another cult which is purely satanic. And when I say that, I'm not speaking as a metaphor. No, it is satanic when you take the time to stop scrolling, which is what they're trying to get you to do, to stop thinking and reading, and read proper books written by those that lived long ago, pre-1970s, I would say, or even older than that. Read those books, just choose carefully, generally, and understand the big picture, and you'll realize what a cult is and how Satan works. Okay, have a lovely day. I'm getting out there to plant the garlic.